Hello and welcome to Hockey Talkie. My name is Clay. Happy Canada Day to all of the lovely folks north of the border. It's a lovely day today, July 1st, start of free agency. It's where rumors become reality, or not. But I'll tell you what, so far it's been a fantastic day. So we're going to start it off with the most important news first. Obviously, the Blackhawks news. They made 3 signings today. 1 that we were kind of expecting, and 2 more that were maybe a little bit of a surprise. Starting with the one that we were expecting, maybe not today, but sometime in the near future. Blackhawks re-signing restricted free agent David Kampf to a 2-year deal. $1 million cap hit, so a little bit of a raise, but not much. For a guy who Coach Colleton seemingly really likes, for a guy who will probably be counted on as a dependable role player on this team, $1 million is nothing. This is a great re-signing for the Hawks. Moving on from the expected to, I don't want to say unpredictable, but definitely not an expected move. Blackhawks signing centerman Ryan Carpenter to a 3-year deal, $1 million cap hit. He used to play for Vegas, bottom 6 guy, 3rd, 4th liner centerman, penalty killer, 2-way game, plays hard, wins over 50% of his draws, so that's awesome. Quite frankly, could be the catalyst for the Blackhawks to finally beat the Vegas Golden Knights this year, but we'll see about that. Essentially, this guy is a Marcus Kruger replacement for about $2 million less. So in my mind, this is a fantastic signing. And to round off the day for the Blackhawks, 3rd and final signing by them, well, at least at the time of recording, you never know, come free agency. Blackhawks signing free agent goaltender Robin Lehner to a 1-year deal worth $5 million. All right, Stan. Okay, Stan, I see you. Now, there was question whether the Blackhawks would make a splash in free agency, considering the types of contracts that have been handed out already this offseason. Seemed like trades were probably the better route to go, and that's what Stan Bowman has been doing up till this. But yeah, you want to talk about making a splash in free agency for the Blackhawks, this is it. Obviously, Robin Lehner had a fantastic year last year. William N. Jennings Trophy, Vezina finalist. Just a great year, career year for him last year. I could have swore the Islanders were going to be re-signing him, but something must have gone wrong. Something must have gone south in those negotiations. And Robin Lehner did not re-sign with the Islanders, even though they offered him more money, or at least more term, same salary. But he comes to Chicago instead for a 1-year deal, $5 million. This is interesting because we still have Crawford. Now, Crawford's on the last year of his contract, but we also have Delia. We kind of thought maybe Delia was going to be the backup for this year, but now it looks like we're going to get a 1A, 1B with Crawford and Lehner, and quite frankly, that's seemingly how the league's kind of trending right now. We could essentially have the best tandem in the NHL. Actually, I'm going to put it out there. We do now have the best goalie tandem in the NHL. And considering that it's a 1-year deal, there really isn't much, if any, risk to this. This was a surprise, to be sure, but a welcome one. So there are your Blackhawks moves for the first day of free agency, from the expected to the unexpected to the surprising. It's a grand range of moves for the Hawks. Pretty exciting stuff. And quite frankly, I don't know if you guys can hear it too, but Chelsea Dagger's getting a little bit louder nowadays. Now, I know it may come as a surprise, but the Blackhawks were not the only team active today. A lot of big names moving around the league. The Central Division in general doing their best to maintain the Thunderdome status. Matt Duchene going to Nashville. You have Corey Perry, and Joe Pavelski going to the Stars. You have Colorado getting Nazem Kadri. I mean, seriously, you have Kadri, Corey Perry, and Andrew Shaw in the Central Division now. Yeah, that's fun. Then you have Artemi Panarin going to the New York Rangers. Bobrovsky going to Florida. That's a $10 million contract for him. By the way, Blackhawks have 2 Vezina Trophy candidates when they're on, in Crawford and Lehner, for $11 million total. So I'm feeling pretty good with our situation. But Bobrovsky getting paid down in Florida. A number of other big moves. Minnesota Wild gets Matt Zuccarello, Ryan Hartman. Anders Lee staying with the Islanders. Semyon Varlamov going to the Islanders. Thankfully, he will no longer hurt us. He was just a Blackhawk killer. It was nuts. And then you have Tyler Myers going to Vancouver. Just a lot of big names making their way to different teams today. Anton Stralman, forgot about him. He's going to Florida. He's staying in the same state there. But yeah, a lot of teams getting better. So with that said, let's take some questions. Are you happy with what the Blackhawks have done so far in free agency and the offseason in general? I am. I like the draft. I thought we got some good players. Kirby Dach, I'm excited for. Whether or not he makes the NHL, we'll see. But I don't think it's any worse of a draft if he doesn't make the NHL this year. In terms of signings and free agency, I like the approach we've had so far, improving the team via trades, because quite frankly, the contracts getting handed out so far this year are just scary. So I really like the fact that Stan and the Hawks are improving the team, but also making a concerted effort not to get themselves back into cap hell. I think, we've criticized Stan Bowman in the past, and rightfully so at times, but now that the Hawks have some cap space, I think we're finally actually going to be able to see Stan Bowman flex his GM muscles and actually show us what he's, really like as a GM, because it's super limited when you have cap, trouble. You're now seeing a lot of teams with that right now, Vegas and Toronto and all that stuff. Now that the Hawks have cap space, I'm excited to see what he can do. And so far, I'm liking it. Your goalie situation with Crawford and, don't know what you're trying to refer to there. Are you trying to refer to concussions or Robin Lehner? Is Robin Lehner like Voldemort now? I don't know what you mean by that. But if you are talking about concussions, well, I feel like we're in a much better spot this year than we were last year at this point in the offseason, because last year we had no idea Crawford's status. Like, he missed the entire last half of the season with concussion symptoms, and we didn't know if he'd ever be back. Now, we've seen him play, and he had the groin issue at the end of the year, but we expect him to be back at training camp and start of the season. So obviously he still has injury history, and he's vulnerable in that space, but I'm feeling fine about it. And now we got Robin Lehner, who was Vezina Trophy candidate last year. This is a great tandem. This is a great 1-2 punch the Hawks could possibly have going on. Who gets moved? Stan Bowman said himself that the Blackhawks have to do some housekeeping. Realistically, who gets moved if you were to guess? I think most people kind of see it as Anisimov being the most likely candidate. I would tend to agree to that. He's the player contract that the Hawks are going to have to get rid of if they want to make better signings in the future. With all the centermen that the Hawks now kind of have or have just signed, I think Anisimov his time has kind of come. And also, if the Blackhawks are going to be re-signing Perlini, Blackhawks need to make some space, and Anisimov will probably have to get moved this offseason for that to happen. However, if somebody else gets moved, I wouldn't be surprised seeing Anisimov stick around through the first part of this year and maybe used as trade bait at the trade deadline. Do you think the Blackhawks should have done more moves this free agency? It's the first day. Free agency is like 2 months long, so there's plenty of time, and I'm quite happy with the amount of moves the Blackhawks made. So no, but also yes. All right, that's it for questions. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Hockey Talk. I really hope you enjoyed it. Let me know your thoughts on the Blackhawks moves down in the comment section below. Also, the moves from around the NHL. Let me know. Like, share, and subscribe. I appreciate that as always. Most importantly, stay safe, make good decisions, and I'll see you next time.